The 2025 NHL Draft first round is now complete. In this video, we're going to recap all of the selections 1 through 32, and we'll do that coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're recapping the first round of the 2025 NHL Draft. It's finally been here. Now it's over. We're going to jump onto the computer. We're going to go through all of these picks 1 through 32. Let you know everything that happened, give you my thoughts and analysis along the way, and then let me know what you think of these selections as well down in the comments. With the first overall selection, we had the New York Islanders, and no surprise, they take Matthew Schaefer, the top D-man from the Erie Otters. Had a lot of people very emotional, of course. The young man losing his mom just over a year ago. Certainly quite a story. Not only do they have themselves a very dynamic defenseman who looks like he's going to be really good at both ends of the ice. Glimpses of Cale Makar, glimpses of Quinn Hughes, but incredibly mature. I think the Islanders are going to have, to be honest, their future captain. He's a heck of a player, heck of a person, a very emotional moment, and I think very proud to be an Islander. At second overall, we have the San Jose Sharks, and they take Michael Misa of the Saginaw Spirit in the OHL. There was a lot of debate on who they were going to go with. All kinds of rumors. They were going with Misa. They were going Frondell. Some thought maybe Desnoyers. Some thought maybe the pick could be traded. They were kind of all over the place, but they settled on Michael Misa. Of course, one of the top players here. Phenomenal skill. Did all kinds of things in the OHL we haven't seen in a really long time. Misa is going to be a very special player. Will help with the Sharks center depth and certainly join a group of young, talented players there that's going to be a dangerous group in a number of years. I think Misa is quite excited to be a San Jose Shark. Up third, we had the Chicago Blackhawks, and they select from Sweden Anton Frondell. They've got the big Swede here. He's a pretty good two-way player. Obviously, we didn't know which direction Chicago would go in if Misa was off the board. We know they want help for Connor Bedard. Does Bedard go on the wing and play with Frondell? Do they both become the 1-2 centers? We'll have to see how things play out here. But they've got an extremely talented player here at number 3 to join the young group of prospects here in Chicago. With the fourth overall selection, we have the Utah Mammoth, and they've selected from the Moncton Wildcats, Caleb Desnoyers. Another great pick here. Of course, there was a lot of speculation they may trade the pick. That did not happen. Desnoyers is considered one of the more complete players here in this draft. He's got a lot of skill. Had a tremendous year in Moncton, leading his team to the Quebec League Championship. Obviously, they fell a little short in the Memorial Cup tournament, but just a phenomenal year. And Desnoyers will add to a very deep group of young, talented players in the Utah organization. This is a tremendous pick here for the Mammoth. Next up at fifth overall, we have the Nashville Predators. They had their pick announced by Shea Weber, and they select Brady Martin of the OHL Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Lots of speculation that Martin wasn't going to make it past 6 or 7, if he even made it to that point. A lot of teams really like this kid for his compete level. Obviously has a lot of skill as well. Draws some comparisons to like a younger version of Sam Bennett. So a lot of teams feel like this is the kind of guy you need to be able to compete and to be able to win with. So Nashville gets themselves a really hard competitor with a lot of skill here at the selection. At 6 overall, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, and they select Porter Martone from the OHL. This guy definitely fits the DNA of a Flyer, in my opinion. Sounds like he was a Flyers fan growing up. Mentioned in his interview after that he had posters of Claude Giroux and lots of Flyers gear, so that's probably a terrific fit for him. Just from a personal standpoint, but he's big, he's strong, he's got goal-scoring ability, he's got playmaking ability, he can play physical. He really is a whole package, and I can see Rick Tocchet and the Flyers absolutely loving this kid. So this was not a surprise at all. Martone to the Flyers, a tremendous selection. At 8th overall, we have the Boston Bruins. They had Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler make the pick, and they take James Haggins from Boston College. A lot of people thought the Islanders were going to try to move up to get this kid, and I'm sure they were trying hard based on the rumors, but it never happened. He's obviously going to be staying in Boston, go from the Eagles to the Bruins. Obviously, this kid is another special talent. Should be a very talented centerman in the NHL here down the road, but the Boston Bruins rarely pick this high. So I thought it was going to take a lot for them to be able to trade the pick, and good enough that is indeed the case. And Haggins is now a Boston Bruins. With the 8th overall pick, we have the Seattle Kraken, and they've selected Jake O'Brien from the Brantford Bulldogs. Another high offensive, real talented kid here. Like I said before during mock drafts, I thought he would be a perfect fit for the Kraken. And you can never have too many centermen. You can never have too many talented players like him. They've got Beniers, they've got Wright. They have some other young talented guys coming up through to their organization here. To me, Jake O'Brien, best player available for Seattle. They need scoring, they need offense, and great selection. Next up at number 9, we have the Buffalo Sabres, and they've selected from the Seattle Thunderbirds defenseman Radim Murka, the big guy, 6'6". Obviously a really big, strong defenseman here. No big surprise that the Sabres went in this direction. I think he could be a future really solid player for them on that back end. They've got some, really good defensemen that should be there for a long time, like Owen Power, like Rasmus Dahlin. Murka will add some size and strength on the right side of that blue line. Next up at 10th overall, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and they've selected Roger McQueen from the Brandon Wheat Kings of the Western Hockey League. Obviously, he's a huge size, missed a lot of time due to injury, and if it wasn't for that injury, he probably would have ranked higher, to be completely honest. Lanky kid, but he's got good size. They envision him as being a strong power forward, tough to play against, highly offensive, skilled player. Really a Pat for beat kind of guy that we know they're trying to build them there in Anaheim to be big and strong and tough to play against, and he fits that mold. Next up at 11th overall, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they select from the Western Hockey League's Calgary Hitmen, Benjamin Kindle. Kindle was a player by most places had ranked lower than this. A little bit of a surprise, but a good hockey player, a lot of offensive instincts. Obviously, Dubas and the Penguins were quite high on him and willing to use this selection. The next pick was belonging to the Pittsburgh Penguins at 12, but they've traded that pick to the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for the Flyers' other 2 first-round picks that they had later in this first round at 22 and 31. So I'm surprised the Penguins didn't take Kindle with one of those later picks. With the 12th overall pick after the trade, we now have the Philadelphia Flyers, and they select Jack Nesbitt from the Windsor Spitfires, another player that, to be honest, I had going a little bit lower in the draft. I thought Philly might have been able to stay back where they were and probably still get this player, but either way, they really, really like him. So clearly, they're content to move up to get a 6'4" centerman, who they say looks like a Flyer and plays like a Flyer. So obviously has a lot of skill, a lot of size, and somebody they can add to their young core that they're slowly building there. So good pick by Philadelphia. Next up at number 13 overall, we have the Detroit Red Wings, and they select Carter Bear from the WHL's Everett Silvertips. Obviously, somebody who can score. He has a pretty good two-way game as well. The Red Wings and Steve Yzerman, looking at everything, we're pretty excited to get this player. They feel like he's got a good compete level, good on both ends of the ice, and somebody who should be able to really help this team here down the road. There were certainly some other players that are sliding in the draft with some of these selections, but obviously guys like the Kindle and Nesbitt and Bear certainly got the attention of some of these teams in the middle part of the draft. Next up at 14th overall, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Great gesture by them. They brought out Meredith Gaudreau to make the pick, selecting Jackson Smith, another Western Hockey Leaguer from the Tri-City Americans. They get themselves a defenseman here with some pretty good size, good skating ability, good offensive instincts as well. Obviously, the Blue Jackets, I think at this point, fair to say, are probably looking for best player available in their opinion, looking for a variety of different positional needs, but Jackson Smith was projected to go right around this point in the draft, so a pretty good defensive pickup here by the Blue Jackets. Next up at the 15th overall, we have the Vancouver Canucks, and they select Braden Coots from the Seattle Thunderbirds, a very young, mature captain in the Western Hockey League. Complete game, one of those fierce competitors, high drive type of guys. Another guy like the Brady Martin pick that teams feel like you can win with this kid. Like he's just a really complete, hard player to play against. Lots of skill, but like I said, this has a lot of those other attributes that you just can't teach. So Braden Coots could very well be a future Vancouver Canuck captain. At 16th overall, we have the New York Islanders after the Dobson trade with the Montreal Canadiens. With their first one here, they take Victor Eklund from Sweden. Of course, the brother William Eklund. This guy has a lot of potential to be a good scoring winger. Describes himself as a highly competitive kid, dog on a bone kind of guy. Should be a terrific fit. Add some good speed and scoring ability to the wings there with the New York Islanders. And of course, they're also picking up next as well with the 17th overall selection. The New York Islanders then on the clock take defenseman Keyshawn Aitchison. This guy has potential to be an absolute beast for the Islanders. Big, nasty defenseman who's got a lot of other good skills as well. He can score, he can skate, he can pass, and just really kind of get in everybody's grill throughout the entire game. I think these two selections will add a huge piece to the New York Islanders prospect pool, which before the draft here was getting a little bit thin, but is getting a little bit better. You add those guys into the mix with Cole Yzerman, Cal Ritchie, and a few others, and it's starting to look a lot better now. With the 18th overall selection, we have the Calgary Flames, and they've selected Cole Oreshney, another Western Hockey League player here, going to a Western Canadian team. Cole Oreshney had a phenomenal season in Victoria this past year. A little bit smaller player, 5'10", 187, but has phenomenal vision and scoring ability. Just really creative, an offensive player. Put up 92 points in 62 games. A great pick. The Flames were quite thrilled that he was available for them with this selection. I know in my mock drafts I had him usually going a few picks higher than this. Selecting 19th overall, we have the St. Louis Blues, and from the Quebec League, they've taken Justin Carbonneau from the boys brand Brienne Armada. This guy is not the greatest skater, but he gets around the ice fine. Might have the best hands in the draft when it comes to sniping. This guy has a lot of potential. Some view him as one of the best pure goal scorers around. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't go a little bit higher, but there was such a focus on centers and D-men and the wingers are kind of taking a little bit of a slide here. But Carbonneau was a great pick for the St. Louis Blues. Next up at 20th overall, we again for the second time have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they go off the board. Surprise a lot of people here. Take the first goalie in the draft, Pyotr Andriyanov. I did not expect him to be the first goalie off the board. I thought that there would be at least two, if not more, ahead of him. Yeah, he's definitely not ranked anywhere near the first round. This is not a shocker for Columbus. It doesn't seem to matter who manages or runs that team. They are famous for their off the board picks. I hope for them, for their sake, it works out. Russian goalies, they're like sort of there's a goalie factory over there that they're producing these guys. So we'll see how this works out. But with multiple first round picks, they felt like they could kind of reach here and take a player that's a little bit off the board since they had the extra selection. So, yeah, an interesting goalie pick here. Next at 21 overall, we have the Predators. After conducting a trade with the Senators, they get Cameron Reed with this selection. They get pick number 23, which was the Predators' pick originally that they had acquired via trade as well, along with a early third-round pick traded to the Senators for pick 21. Cameron Reed, very smooth skating defenseman. Obviously, the only aspect of his game, I think the only reason he's lower here is just on the defensive side of things, which is not unusual for a lot of young D. But great skater, good offensive puck mover. The Predators certainly, they were concerned he wouldn't be there in two picks. So my suspicion is the Flyers, who have the next pick, must have had their eye on this player as well. With the 22nd overall pick, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, that acquired this earlier by trade. Select Bill Zonin from the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League. Zonin had a pretty good season with Rouyn-Noranda. The left winger, 6'2", 190 pounds, appeared in 64 games this year, putting up 28 goals, 55 assists, 483 points. Of course, grew up in the Montreal area. Certainly inspired by players like PK Subban. Zonin was absolutely thrilled to end up with the Pittsburgh Penguins, another pick that they've added to their collection. The Penguins are certainly doing lots of selecting here in tonight's draft. Selecting 23rd overall, of course, after completing the trade with Nashville, the Senators have Logan Hensler as their first round selection from the University of Wisconsin. Good sized right shot defenseman, 6'2", close to 200 pounds. Certainly good skater, pretty good defender. Was on Team USA, who won the gold medal in the World Juniors this past year. Hensler could be, I think he has potential to be, at least we'll have to wait and see, a pretty good shutdown pairing type of defenseman. Of course, they took a right-hand D last year with Carter Yakimchuk to add Hensler to the mix. They could have two really good right shot D for the future. I thought they had a couple other players they might go for here, whether it be Lakovic or Fiddler, but they've chosen the steady defender here in Logan Hensler. Pretty good selection overall, I must say. With the 24th overall pick, after the pick's been traded a few times, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, this was originally the Kings pick, and they take William Horkoff, the son of former NHLer and Red Wings executive Sean Horkoff. Will Horkoff is an absolute beast, a mountain of a man. Has huge size, has a good amount of skill. The Penguins are certainly very thrilled to have him here, obviously. Like I said, a player like Horkoff, second generation NHL player. Played a combination of places this year. He's going to be at Michigan. He's already 6'4", 180 pounds. He's going to add some muscle on to his frame here and certainly be a lot more of a physical presence. But this guy is a guy who should be able to play in the middle of the lineup and certainly add potential power forward type of game. So a great pick here by the Penguins. Next up at the 25th overall pick, we have the Chicago Blackhawks. They go off the board here a little bit and select Vaclav Nestrasil, another player drafted here from the USHL from Muskegon, right winger. Huge guy, 6'6", 185 pounds. Put up 42 points in 61 USHL games this past year. To me, he was projected to be like a mid of the second round. Is probably where a lot of places had him going. So certainly a little bit early, but clearly they really like him. And with multiple picks and lots of prospects in their system, I think they can afford to take the chance on this player. Next up at 26 overall, we have the Nashville Predators picking here again. And they also kind of go off the board a little bit with forward Riker Lee, another USHL pick from the Madison team. Riker Lee was projected by many to be like an earlier second round pick. So a little bit off the board, but overall a good player. 68 points in 58 games. They are a player with Riker Lee needs to work on his skating. That's the biggest knock on him. A little clunky. He was kind of compared to Tyler Toffoli and how he looked at the same age. But as we know, Tyler Toffoli turned out to be a heck of a player and had a heck of a career. But Riker Lee goes over to Nashville here as the 26th overall selection. With the 27th overall selection, we have the Washington Capitals, top team in the East this year. They take from the Western Hockey League, Lyndon Lakovic from the Moose Jaw Warriors. Lakovic is a player that many people and systems here had ranked higher. He slid in this draft here a little bit. He's a big guy, huge size, good shot, good passer, good offensive instincts. There's certainly lots to like about his game. The one area that seems to be the knock on him is he hardly has any penalty minutes. They'd like to see more physicality out of him for a guy that is as big as he is to play a bigger game. And I think that's something that he's going to want to work on and develop here over time. But certainly, if nothing else, he does have pretty good offensive skills and should be a pretty good odds of playing NHL games here in the next couple of years. But obviously, like I said, a guy who has power forward potential if you would just use his size to his strength here. Next up at the 28th overall selection, we have the Winnipeg Jets, and they've selected Sasha Boumdienne from BU. Another terrific pick here. Great young defenseman, really, really, really strong skater, really smart defender. Can defend reasonably well for his age and not afraid to get up the ice and chip in on the offense. Good motor as well. I really think that could be a really good late first round pick for the Winnipeg Jets to add into their prospect pool here. Obviously, you can never go have too many defensemen, and this kid just shows like he could be a big part of the future. With the 29th pick, normally would have been the Hurricanes, but they traded it to the Blackhawks, and they take Mason West from Edina High School in Minnesota. Another pick off the board here. West is also not only a really good hockey player, but he is a football player. He is committed to going to college, and there's some concern about the football stuff and whether or not he could be hurt and all that. So a little risky move here by the Blackhawks, to say the least, but if he sticks to hockey and doesn't get hurt and doesn't play football, then could be a home run here. We'll see. He's 6'6", 218 pounds. not quite 18 years of age yet. Obviously, like I said, a really solid hockey player, but the concern here, why he was lower, was because of the football stuff, as you know, and the risks involved with the selection. Most draft ranking services had him going, mid to late second round, maybe even third in some cases. With the 30th pick, we have the San Jose Sharks, their final pick in the first round, and they've taken what many thought might be the first goalie to go in this draft, Joshua Ravensbergen. Now, Ravensbergen is viewed upon as being a really good goalie prospect, a little bit raw, going to need some time to obviously develop. Goalies do normally take longer than most positions anyway, most people understand that. But with the Sharks, and considering how many picks they have and how many prospects, and they've got a little bit of everything here, he is one of the better goalie prospects in this draft, so I think it's well worth the chance. Of course, he's the right-hand catcher, so a little bit different, not as common, but with a lot of time and development, he certainly has a lot of potential. Like, he was the main goalie expected that could go in the first round, and of course, we did have the other Russian goalie go earlier with Andrei Yanov, and of course, the other goalie in the mix was Ivan Kovic, who we could see go here in the next few picks or into the second round tomorrow. With the 31st overall selection, we have the Los Angeles Kings, finally the host team picking. They select from the London Knights Henry Brustowitz, a two-way defender, pretty solid overall player, both ends of the ice, describes himself as a Swiss Army knife. Was the D partner for a chunk of the year with Sam Dickinson, actually, who is, of course, the Sharks pick, and the Sharks picked right before LA. There was some talk that maybe they would pick him for potential future D pairing, but he goes to LA instead. Obviously, the right shot defenseman, which is something that comes at a premium just from shooting right. Obviously, has a lot of skills. That'll be an important D man on both ends of the ice. Pretty solid selection for this part of the first round. With the 32nd and final pick of the first round, we have the Calgary Flames, and they take Colin Potter, a dynamic offensive player, terrific skater from the Arizona State University, where he started playing at the young age of 17. Had himself a pretty good season last year. Obviously put up 22 points in 35 games in the NCAA. A little bit on the smaller side, 5'10", 172, but the Flames have had a lot of success with players that are a little bit smaller that way, so I think they're willing to take the risk here, considering where they are in the first round with the 32nd pick. But this kid, like I said, he does have a ton of skill, great skater, and a lot of scouting people think that he is a type that will persevere through and will make it to the NHL and have a meaningful career. So that concludes your recap for the 2025 NHL Draft. We'll be back tomorrow with more analysis on rounds 2 through 7. But for now, let me know all of your thoughts on all the action that went down in round 1. Stay tuned, of course, to the channel for all your updates and all the NHL news, rumors, and of course, lots of more draft coverage as well. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.